Morning, everyone. Brian Turner from CCS. So the other day we had Nate Franzen. He's the president, or the department president of First Dakota National Bank, and we had him on a Zoom video here, and it was pretty interesting. We talked a lot about the different types of programs that are available to the farmer, or the ag producer, and then we just started talking more and more about the economy in general and some of the things that he was seeing on the ag side. And we're going to bring Nate back, but we got to talking. Actually, the whole interview went almost close to half hours, so we've kind of edited it down just for some purposes of just making sure we can watch it, timely. But one of the couple of the things we talked about was a $9.5 billion disaster bill. What does it take to apply for those funds? A little bit of PPP. But more importantly, we start talking about the family. And what does it mean going through all of this? And now as we start to see some of the states, they're starting to open up, what does that really mean? So anyway, enjoy these few minutes that we've had with Nate. He provides a lot of insight. We're just tickled to death to have First Dakota as a partner here. So if you have any interest in financing, or really what does it take to handle all of the different types of programs that come through, whether First Dakota is your bank or not. These folks with him and his crew, they're just great at helping everybody get an understanding of what does the landscape look like, and frankly, what will it look like as we go through the balance of this pandemic outbreak and containment, and really what does it mean for the industry. So just take a moment, enjoy the rest of this interview, and have a great day.
That is the biggest risk, I think, in agriculture in the short term, is just more disruptions in the supply chain. A packing plant closing, a retailer who can't stay open anymore to sell the product because their staff is sick. Problems in transportation because truckers had to stop driving because they became ill. Those are the kind of things that I think will have immediate impact on agriculture. The other macro thing is just this overall gloom a little bit of the economy, right? We just know people aren't eating out as much. People aren't, spending that expendable money as much. People don't have that expendable money as much if they lost their job or have been put on furlough. And so those are the negative things hanging over it. I do think there's a silver lining out here though, Brian, for agriculture. Let me share that.
Sure.
There's one thing that this environment has taught us all, right? We're at home again. We're with family again. We're distancing ourselves, and we're thinking about what's going on and what really matters. And it's reminded us that, safety, family, food, the essentials of life are really, really important. And when things are going good, it's easy for us to kind of forget about that. Well, we're reminded of that in a big way in this kind of a situation. And I think that's positive for agriculture. I think in general, it's reminding not just the citizens of the US, but globally, how important the food supply chain is, how important it is to raise a high quality food that in ample supply so that we don't have to worry about scarcity. And I think, US agriculture, as much as anywhere in the world, stands to benefit from a reminder of that across this planet. I hope there's some long-term optimism and some long-term silver lining because of all this. Just because of that alone, it reminds us that we need to remember that. We need to make sure we're taking care of that segment of our economy because it's part of the backbone that keeps things rolling.
Boy, Nate, you couldn't have said it any better because it truly is. And we have taken that for granted. I think everybody probably has a story of going to the grocery store and probably for the first time ever that they've not seen something on the shelf, whether it be a meat product, a canned product. I won't even get into the toilet paper thing, which still baffles me, but which is the craziest thing in the world. But when you look at it and you see that, you really begin to appreciate what we do take for granted. Yeah. And especially not, from the ag, from where it starts, which I think a lot of people are beginning to understand, wow, all of those fields or whatever I pass, they are part of that food chain. And not to even mention the folks that are out there every day stocking those shelves. There's a greater appreciation for that whole area, I'm finding.
You're exactly right, Brian. And the other thing I think that is a real opportunity for agriculture is when there are those empty spots on the shelves, it gives us a chance to explain to consumers why, right? It's not because of a shortage of product. It's because of a change in the supply chain, right? More people were eating in a restaurant. Well, now they're not. Now they're going to the grocery store. Well, that changes things, right? We ship and package food differently if it's going to the restaurant than we do if it's going to the grocery store. And so what shortages you see today, they're temporary, and they're temporary because we're adjusting to a new flow of product, to a new place because of the circumstances we're in. And people, as they hear us talk about that and understand that, will grow an appreciation even more of what we do in agriculture and how important it is for all of us.
That's true. And while as bad as this is, I agree with your comment. There's a silver lining that is out there, and hopefully we all kind of just take a pause and say, wow, wait a minute. I can tell you my kids, my wife is a very good cook. My kids are learning how to cook instead of, like I said, eat out or the drive-through. They're trying to stimulate the economy that way, of course. But it is kind of interesting now where they're actually having meals at the table. And I like that personally, So that's great. Well, let me just summarize then a little bit. Taking up quite a bit of your time. Gosh, I really appreciate it. So if you have a small operation or an operation with an employee, get in there, get the paperwork ready to go for the PPP program. And now regarding the Schedule F, get in there or get your paperwork ready to go for that, because we do feel that there could be funding or potential funding for that. And the sooner you get your paperwork ready, the better it is, right?
Yep.
And then just if they have any questions, just to give anybody in your group a call. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about, First Dakota, where you've got the branches and that type of thing, so folks are aware.
You bet. So real quickly, First Dakota, we're a $2 billion regional bank headquartered in Yankton, South Dakota. Most of our locations are in South Dakota. So our full service branches are in southeastern South Dakota, central South Dakota. We do have loan production offices in Nebraska that cover really all of Nebraska. And I would tell you from an agricultural standpoint, you'll appreciate this, Brian. With technology anymore, it really doesn't matter where our full service bank locations are. We bring it to you. We can deliver things to you with technology. We come to you on your farm or ranch. And, other than having an ATM that you can access to get to your account and get some cash once in a while, there's really no need for you to come to the bank. And so we do business with a lot of folks in agriculture that live a long ways away from many of our branches, and we're just fine with that. So that's a bit about, just the bank in general. 18 full service banks in South Dakota, 3 loan production offices across Nebraska, but we really do cover all of South Dakota, all of Nebraska. We'll get into Northwest Iowa, we'll get into Southwest Minnesota, and we'll bring it to agriculture when it's the right fit and the right opportunity for them and us.
Oh, that's great. And I sure appreciate that. And I'm glad that you guys are there and that we've gotten to know you here in these past few months through everything. I've been working with parts of your team and have a lot of respect for them. And, you've got a great crew up there. So, well, Nate, once again, thanks so much for joining us today. And we'll have your email information and everything. We'll have it on the end here, and so they know how to get a hold of you. And so I think it's just great that you've taken the time. One of the things I would like to do, though, is as these programs come out, maybe a little bit more here in the next few weeks, maybe we can get you online here for just an update, huh?
Sure. Yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thanks so much. I appreciate your time today.
Hey, thanks, Brian. Best of luck.
You bet. Thank you.